Hello, everyone. Welcome to this Sunday message. I decided to do it a little bit different this week and just capture what's on my mind using my voice. And honestly, it's mainly because, believe it or not, when I sit down to do any email, but particularly these Sunday message emails, they often take me over 2 hours to put together. And so it is very time consuming as I structure it into words. And so I thought today I would just come in, use my voice, and give you some thoughts on what has been coming up for me over the past week. And so today I want to talk to all of you about coherence. And when I say coherence, I mean that idea of forming a unified whole. So all the parts and pieces being cohesive and working well together. And this is an idea that comes up with many of my clients. We're not always using the word coherence, but that word's just been coming up for me this week. So I figured it was worth exploring a little bit in the Sunday message. And so I think what we all know to be true is that we can look at almost anything and know there needs to be some type of coherence. And a really beautiful place to look is in nature, right? If you look at a tree or you look at a flower, you can see how all of those parts are working together to form this coherent whole that then we take in visually, or maybe we smell something from it. Maybe we hear if the wind's blowing, the rattling of the leaves, but all those pieces are working cohesively together to form something that then we can take in. And we're impacted by that. Now, on a deeper level, we need to look for coherence within ourselves. Really starting internally is going to help us to contribute in the communities, the families, the other places where we show up in a much more impactful way if we've actually taken the time to look at ourselves internally and notice where are we in coherence and maybe where are some things that are out of alignment. And so all day we're in and out of coherence. And so I'll give an example from my life. So a good example for me when I can start to feel things out of alignment is if I'm thinking about maybe something I need to do for work, maybe there is something I need to do around the house, but my mind is kind of calculating out when would be the best time to do it. I could be moving around the kitchen, thinking about it. I could be listening to something. And if, like, my daughter or my husband um, interrupts my train of thought, I will find myself getting agitated and getting out of coherence. And so it's not necessarily it's not their fault, right? But I could be really triggered if suddenly I'm in my own thought process and my daughter is in the kitchen, like, can you make me this, mom? Can you do this for me? And she wants it like immediately. It takes me a moment to shift gears, just the way I'm hardwired. And so sometimes I can get a little edgy. I may kind of snap at her. And so what happens when I notice that immediately in the moment and become really aware of it, I can choose again, meaning I can take a deep breath. Maybe I like leave the kitchen for just a couple of moments and come back, but I bring myself back into coherence. And sometimes we think of this as like re-regulating ourselves if we feel triggered. But my question to everyone listening this weekend on this nice Sunday is, how often are you noticing where you need to bring yourself back into coherence? And are you actually taking the time to bring yourself back to center, to be really present in the moment? It is not easy. I'm not here to say it's something that we can easily move in and out of, but half the battle is just noticing and becoming really curious around what situations are going on day to day that bring me out of alignment. And then how do I empower myself to come back into alignment? And sometimes realigning is a simple process, just stopping, taking a few deep breaths, maybe moving to another space, another room, even if it's just for a few seconds, to change the scenery, change your frame of mind, and choose again. And so that's really my question this week for all of you. How often are you choosing again so that your mind, your body, your spirit can be working cohesively. And many times our physical body will show us when we are not working internally at a cohesive level. When there is not, when we are lacking coherence, a lot of times this will show up as aches and pains in our body. Um, many times it can show up as some type of dis-ease process. So whether it manifests as maybe more of a chronic condition for someone, or it manifests more as a short-term infection, like a sinus infection. I'd even venture to say sometimes a flare-up of our allergies is really our body trying to tell us we're out of alignment. And so get curious this week. Like, where do you notice aches and pains? Is there something physically that's showing up for you, sending you a message, letting you know, hey, we need to recalibrate. We need to rest, we need to reflect, and we need to figure out how we bring ourselves back into alignment. And the thing I like to point out to all my clients is when we talk about recalibration or balance, I'm not talking about a perfect balance. We've been really misled within our society that homeostasis is this perfect middle point, and I don't really believe in the middle point. What I believe is that we're all operating on different continuums all day long, and so that barometer, so to speak, moves up and down or back and forth, whatever your continuum looks like. And really, what you're trying to do each day is calibrate to a balance that's perfect for you. And one day, that balance may be that you have more on your to-do list. And so you're in a more active state of coherence. Everything feels like it's moving, there's some momentum. And then there's other times where on that continuum, you recalibrate and it's maybe more of a day of rest. And so it is shifted. So I really like to encourage everyone to think about your unique balance and how does that fluctuate and morph for you day to day, maybe moment to moment, right? And really think about what your schedule looks like on a daily basis too. And when you look at that schedule, how can you be more thoughtful and mindful around your daily schedule and how you calibrate this natural energy that you have so that you're proactively bringing yourself into coherence. Okay. And once you're able to achieve that inwardly, it allows you then to show up in your family, in your community groups, at work, and all the other social settings that you are a part of. It allows you to show up there not only balanced, but really ready to contribute in a meaningful way. And then role model for other people what it's like to achieve that alignment for themselves. And what you'll start to notice is you begin to appreciate where you can sense that coherence around you. So things in nature that maybe never caught your attention suddenly catch your attention. Maybe an area of your home that you've decorated a certain way. Oh, it finally just, you see it with new eyes because it was so thoughtfully laid out. There's lots of different ways your senses will start to pick up on this new level of coherence. And so I just invite everyone this week, step into that, get curious, start to see where you're in alignment, maybe where you're out of alignment, and make those really thoughtful choices for yourself this week about how you recalibrate, about how you find your own beautiful, unique coherence. So until next week, I will see you all then.